Okay then, and we are live. All right. So I haven't done a live for a couple of weeks. If you're coming on, like I say, I haven't been on for a couple of weeks, so it'll probably be a smaller audience with not being on regular. But I thought I'd be coming on. I'm gonna record this and get this up as well. Let me know that you can hear and everything's fine. So give me a thumbs up or tell me in the comments. Remember, if you're on Facebook, you have to tell them who you are, or it just tells me Facebook user. But do a thumbs up or let me know if you can hear everything's okay. All good, all good. Yeah, excellent. Okay, hiya there, Martin. Hiya there, Les. Remember, it only says Facebook user if you're on Facebook and you haven't added your name or something like that. I don't know. I haven't been on it, but hiya, George and Debbie. And Lulu Freedom, lovely, excellent. Dawn, hi, are you all right? Okay, good. And everyone can hear okay, I presume. So I have, hiya, Zoe. Nice to see you on. And everyone else on Facebook, if you haven't put your name in, but hello to everyone. So I actually have some slides that I'm going to do, or I'm going to try and do, when we're talking about this. And some people pronounce it differently. Some people say malfeasance or misfeasance. But the presentation that I have, I've never done the slides like this before. So it's either going to be great or rubbish. I don't know. So hello, Seed Pod. So hopefully, it'll work properly and everything. But we're going to go over a few things. I'm going to teach a few different things. But and also go over hi, Misty Blue. Hey, are you all right? Some books I've been reading. Always good to be reading the books. I'm going to go over some stuff about. So I was talking to a guy like on a call. I had a few calls today, and it just really made me think. And he was talking about, which is what I'm going to go over and say a few things. Hiya, Vicky. So I'm going to go over a few things. Hiya. And it really made me think, and that's why I've actually put this up here about our sons and daughters and what we do, and everything. Go Toys, hello. Oh, Dylan in Poland. All right. How is it over in Poland then? But we're going to go over. I'm going to show you some books I've been reading, and these are slightly different books. Obviously, the first one I'm just going to go over because it's in there, is, all right, the Holy Bible, 1611 edition, King James, KJV, 1611, all right, makes 9, okay, whatever you want to call it, Christ number, God number, whatever it is that you want to say. Also, all right, I think you can get these on Amazon. I think this one, have I got there? Trust Protection, all right. Asset protection, pure trust organizations. Now, this is slightly different, right, to other things. Hiya, Marie. Hiya, D. But there's still some good information in here, right? So you can have a look at this and compare it to the other books I had showed you, but also the information that we've got on and everything. 33 degrees. Wow, that's boiling. So have a look at that one. All right, Asset Protection, Pure Trust Organization. That's a good book to read, okay? But help also as well with the other books and was when you're creating your trusts and when I've shown you how to create your trusts. And this one, here's a good one. I don't know if you've heard of this one before, seen this one before. I'm trying to stay away from the light. Where is it there? Watkins Dictionary of Magic. Okay, a lot of good stuff in here. A lot of good words and trying to read what they're trying to tell you and kid you about and lie to you about, but also, you take it in when you're reading this one. Hey, Dimeball, how you doing? Good to see you, man. It's also good to read with the etymology. any etymology dictionary, etymology, it's hard to say that, you know, stuff like that. And this one here, I went down the slides that I'm going to show you about the misfeasance or whatever, malfeasance, whatever you want to call it, right? They were created by a doctor, Warren Lee. Now, he right created these slides, so I'm going to show you them, and it's from the Legal Cafe. It's got their logo on and everything, but he's gave them to me so that I can help pass it on, pass the word, spread the word. All right, and I'm going to go on and show you how to sort of like what it's about and also what you should be using it for. Okay, what's that? Time goes by. Hi, how are you doing? And Imi, you, hi there, you all right? Hang on, get rid of them. Hide all. Okay, but this one, when I was down there, we were like Warren, you know, Dr. Warren. He runs the Legal Cafe, but also it's a union, and he's launching another union, but it was in like the People's Union of Wales, which is like the People's Union of England. I think I've got that correct. And one of the people that I was talking to that I met with is a teacher, and has been standing up against the tyranny all the time, and they've like sacked her, put her back on, sacked her, put her back on. But literally by doing what she's been doing and standing up, you see, there's a difference between legal and lawful. Now, sometimes it's good to be on the lawful. Other times you've got to step into the legal if you want to play them at their game. Sometimes, not always. But this is one of those times when you can, you see, the thing is, the way I see it, right? I am man. I stand as I am man. But if I'm talking to them, they have to stand under legislation because they signed the contract. If they're actually in that workplace, i.e., they're saying they're from the council, education, clowns in costumes, anything like that, then they've signed the contract. So they are under legislation. So they have to follow the rules that they've abided by, and they're getting paid by. You see, they're getting paid by it. They're taking their pieces of silver. So it's good to be able to go into legislation, put your public hat on, use the legislation that they are actually breaking. They always break their own rules. You know that. They break their own rules all the time. Okay. So you can step into the legislation, dictate the legislation to them, because a lot of the times as well, they'll move away from it when they are breaking it, and they'll start quoting policy as well. Oh, the policy this, the policy that. You know, where all they're doing is they're just being policy enforcers for the actual corporations, right? And breaking their own legislation all the time to do it, making us and the children, is what we're talking about here, suffer. So this is another book which I've been reading, The Children's Inquiry. Okay. I only just started it. But already it's quite shocking. Now, and the lady, you know, that is the teacher that was talking with Warren, and Warren was helping and was fighting, and she had mentioned this book, so I thought I want to see it as well, you know. So I bought it and read it. So I suggest you do. I mean, just everybody's on the same wavelength. Okay, hi, Donna and Whoosh 66. Time goes by 12. Tim Fuller, hello to everyone. Marie, hi, are you all right? So have a look at those books. But like I say, I was on some calls today, and it just really made me think when I was like doing these calls. It was good because I am going to go, and I've asked Warren, because he's really good at doing these presentations, to create another presentation about the mental health. I went down to Wales, and I was there like the whole day, twice. Well, the first time I met him was when I got all sunburnt. Made me sit outside in the sunshine. Hi, Tricia, from Ireland. But the last time I went down to Wales, and it was like all about like going in about the Mental Health Act or the Mental Capacity Act, you know. And I had a call today when I was able to help someone, you know, and it was good, obviously, that I had this extra information that I had gotten from Warren, you know. very, very sort of like handy to have that extra bit. And I want to pass more on to other people as well, so that they can, have a little bit of extra argument, if that's the correct, but it's not the correct, but like, have more knowledge on what we're actually doing, which is why I want to show you this misfeasance thing. It's a brilliant presentation that he's took a long time. You'll see all his logos on. He's got it watermarked and everything. He's gave it to me with permission for me to show you. So I have got the permission, and I'm recording it. Obviously, everything is up for here, and I'll be able to teach more people and pass it on. It's very, very important. Now, hopefully, he'll be able to. It takes a long time to do the slides to get them how you want them. So I'm asking him to do the mental health one, or the Mental Capacity Act, I think it's called, that they've started to create, well, they have already created, to try and have the extra part over us. But remember as well that we're all about being I a man, I a woman. So when you're standing right in the law, i.e. the law, under the creator, right, then we stand there without worrying about acts and statutes, because statutory legislation, which I'm going to do another presentation on, showing you how they actually even tell you point blank that legislation is not law and cannot be law. And they say it all the time. It's just that not everyone is paying attention. When everyone's getting on with busy lives and everything, you don't see it. But it cannot be, can never be, and they even tell it and admit it. But what we're going to talk about today is, I thought it was just really interesting. I was having this call with this guy, and it just knocked me backwards when he was saying it. And it's talking about why is it that we've fallen for this scam, this scheme, right? Be it whatever you want to call it. We have got the straw man, the legal fiction, right? This complete and utter scam. Everything's already paid for. The birth certificate scam. Right, the birth certificate complete lie, where everything's turned into bonds and we're traded on the stock exchange. How comes we've fallen for this? And now you still got at least 50% of people completely follow it blindly. All right, and another 80% of the 50% that don't follow it blindly, that have got an idea that something is wrong, still don't do anything about it. It's a very small percentage that is doing anything about it. Mind you, it's increasing, and I think they've actually shot themselves in the foot, and a lot more people are becoming aware. I don't like the term awake, because awake is being, having a little bit of a drinky for the person who's died, right? So we want to be aware, not awake. All right, we're all going to be aware. Okay, so. This guy, and this is what he was talking about, it really hit me hard. It was like, your sons and daughters. And we got to remember, what we have is our sons and daughters. They're not children. Okay? Children is a title that they create. And we're not parents. We are mothers and fathers. Okay? Do not take their titles. When you have the title, you're diminishing a man and woman, which is why I don't like the terms, sovereign man, free man. You're a man and a woman. Okay? All right? So I'll write that in a little bit. So we've got our sons and daughters, and we teach them, okay, because we are their mothers and fathers. But what is it that we're teaching them? Okay, what is it that we're actually teaching them? Remember, we're actually the whole thing is they're getting indoctrinated by everything on this outside body. Right? All of the media is all owned by the same corporations that own the governments. It's all owned by them. So they're getting indoctrinated and bombarded all the time. But we're doing our bit, all right, without even thinking about it. Okay, what do I mean? All right. So what we say is we are a role model. Okay, so we want them to we want to be a good role model and have them to have good role models. Okay, so right, just a thought. This is all I'm saying. Right, but. We teach them to lie. We teach them to lie. Just look at it. So not only do we teach them to lie, but we reward them for the lie as well. Okay. All right. Who else we got there? Oh, someone from Canada. I'm Worrell. Oh, Cedric. Hi, Cedric. All right. Awesome. Lots of people coming in. Great to see. All right. Okay. So we teach them to be good if they believe the lie. And this is when we do it. It's you just don't think about it. Okay. So if you were good for Santa Claus, all right, then you're going to get rewarded, isn't it? We do it. We say it, be good for Santa and you're going to get what you want, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's exactly the same, really, if you think about it. Now, the government, they want them to force us on. We're getting all good. Talk about Santa Claus there. We've got all good clothes. Schwab, he's saying that, you're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy because we are the future. That's him saying it, right? And he dresses in fancy outfits as well, doesn't he? Old Satan Claus. Okay. All right. So, and doesn't this make you think now? So why are we so easily fooled? Right? We're easily fooled. So, we're easily lied to. Why is it that we're easily lied to and easily fooled? The straw man deception. I just mentioned that before. Okay. Right. So the straw man we actually created now. We are not the straw man, but we have a straw man. We are not a person, but we have a person. Right. But we do not understand it because it is all a deception. Right. They lie about it and create this without telling us or explaining it to us. Okay. All right. So on top of the straw man deception, we'll have got the legalese deception. All right. On the legalese deception. So what we mean by the legalese is that all of this legislation, none of it relates to you. Shouldn't say you. None of it relates to I. None of it relates to us. Okay. Unless we accept it. Unless we consent. And I'm going to do a big presentation, about the deception for the actual legalese and the legislation. Okay. So, but I mean, this is what we're lied about too. But why are we so easily fooled by it? Well, we're being told that we can accept these lies because we're getting shown as children and we're passing that on. All right. To our children. Okay. So what are we talking about? Now, come on, think about it. Right. I'm just making you think. I'm not giving any opinions. I'm not telling you what to do. Okay. But think about it. All right. Father Christmas, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny. All right. Now, is it just harmless fun? All right. Okay. Or, right, is it a bit more than that? So if they're going to accept that these are there, I can't really remember much, to be honest, but, I do know Father Christmas, you've got to be good. Father Christmas will bring the presents. I remember getting presents as a kid, going into like the front room. Well, we never ever used it. All right. But we would go in and get the presents, and the presents were on the couch. Okay. Right. But the Tooth Fairy, I can't ever remember as being a kid or any of that. But right, I do know people now talk about they give like money if you lose a tooth. Okay. Or it goes under your pillow or something, isn't it? I don't know. I can't remember. But the Easter Bunny. All right. So the Easter Bunny brings the Easter eggs. Is that correct? I'm not really 100% sure on that one either. I'm not into fairy tales. But, this is what we actually teach them, though. Okay? All right? This is what we're actually teaching them. So is it harmless fun? Or actually, are we laying the foundations for the lies to keep going, right? So that when it comes back to, okay, right, the straw man deception and the legalese deception under this legislation. And everybody thinks that legislation is law. Legislation is not law. Can never be law. Okay? So if you ever want to read about it, look for the Clearfield Doctrine. The Clearfield Doctrine. But there's a lot of other stuff I'm going to do a good presentation on. And it shows you, how they admit all the time that legislation cannot be law. Okay? All right, so because it's the legalese deception. Legislation, they legislate, all right? And a lot of times, which I've shown you, like why I actually called the YouTube channel Return to Democracy, because I was talking about the real democracy, not this suffrage that we're all under. and how like democracy is ruled right properly when you actually have the court de jure, i.e. the jury of 12 of your peers that will actually run the law. You see, because it's not just about are you guilty or not by the jury, but is the legislation or the law or whatever it would be fair and correct and right? And if not, not only are you getting tried or trialed, but so is the legislation or the law or whatever it is. And because it can get found not correct or unfair or unjust, it can be struck off the statute book when you do it correctly. Right? When we have a court de jure, when we have our like trial by jury, as in the jury of your peers, the 12. Yes? Okay. So we're just going to go on a little bit, talk about like the King James version of the Bible. All right. This is the one that I like, trying to stop the glare on it. Okay. King James version. I should actually go and get all must be people, honestly, they're buying loads of books when I'm showing them all these books. I should have got commission on them, shouldn't I? But going on about the Bible and about what some of them are. Now, the way that I see the Bible is it's like allegorical. All right. It's not like saying this is fact and right, this happened and blah, blah, blah. It's trying to teach you to think, let's just say, wider, critical thinking, right? Making you understand that there's something different going on. That is what the Bible is all about. It's teaching you lessons, but not in a way whereas you have to read it as a fact. It's read it as an allegory. Wow, that's a hard word. Okay, so, and it is just the way I see it. All right, so we've got King James version 1611. Okay, 1611 there makes 9. What is 9? Okay, that is God's number, isn't it? All right, so this is just my version. This is how I see it. This is, well, a lot of other people see it this way as well, but this is what I actually feel for it. Okay, so on Matthew 14:22 to 34, what is that? Okay, you of little faith. When did Jesus or Yahshua or Yahweh, whatever you want to say what their name was, when did he say that? What was he doing? Okay, why did you doubt? Right? It was the walking on the water. Okay, so this is the Sea of Galilee. This is when they went in the fishing boat. The way that you look at it, right, really, when you see what he was actually talking. When they seen the disciples seen him walking on the water, they were like, like, can Peter, can I come? And he said, come. All right. So when Peter went and stood on the water and started walking towards Jesus, this is the version in the Bible. All right. And then he started to panic and seen the wind and got scared and he started to sink. And he was saying, save me, save me. And that's what he said. You of little faith. Why did you doubt? So what we're talking about, and the way I see it, is what they're actually getting. Jesus was showing people to walk above the water, to be above the maritime. You can call it law if you want, maritime law, right? But to be above maritime. Okay? All right? So you see it there when it's talking about maritime law, be above the water. Everything that we do on everything that they talk about, all right, on the legalese side, it's all about water. It's all about the ship. Let's imagine being birthed, right? Instead of being born, you're now being birthed. You're going through the birthing canal, all right? I'm doing this with the dropping the beard. But that's what they're talking about. So you're coming out of your mother's waters, right? You're going through the birthing canal. You're going in and you get birthed by a doctor. Okay, so then you're actually getting it, and everything's talking about a ship, isn't it? Right. So you're going into an apprenticeship. It's leadership. It's membership. Everything is about a ship. It's all about water. So the way I see it, right, is that they're actually teaching you can be above the water. You can be above the maritime law. if you have the knowledge and you act correctly, which is all that we're trying to do. All we're trying to do is to teach you how to stand as I a man, I a woman. If you stand as I a man, I a woman in law under the Creator, you are not on the ship. You can be above the maritime. So acts and statutes cannot affect you unless you consent to them. Have you signed a contract in wet ink? You got a wet ink signature, your sign of nature, that said that you agree to be under acts and statutes. You consent to them. There isn't one. You haven't done it, right? So you've got to lift up the knowledge a bit more and go above the maritime law, so you can walk on the water. That is the way that I see that they're actually talking about that. Okay. I'm not saying you have to agree with I'm just giving you something to think about. All I ever want to do is pass information on, give you some thoughts, and hopefully going to get people critically thinking and pushing ourselves above and beyond our own perception, and hopefully, bringing down a system that is evil. Okay. What do you think? What do you think? Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Right. So have a look. See, what do you think of that? Okay, does anybody say anything? All right. Someone says they agree with me, so I'm going to put that comment up. Only one of the ones that agree with me. I'm kidding. So the next one, we're coming on to Mark 8, 22 to 26. The blind man of Bethsaida. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I don't know. All right, but Bethsaida. So this is the blind man. This is when Jesus, all right, gave the blind man of Bethsaida his sight back, healed his eyes and made him see. Okay. But again, the way that I understand this is that, look, once you've seen the truth, you cannot unsee the truth. Once your eyes have been opened, and you can see the lies that have been laid upon us, all right, as a man and woman, by the legislation, the lies, the deception of the birth certificate, right? Whereas you're actually created as a bond and sold as a slave. You're put under slavery completely, right? Which is all about taxation. This is completely voluntary. You do not have to be paying tax. You have to learn how to handle your own affairs by becoming I a man, I a woman, right? So once you've actually seen that, the way that I can comprehend this or understand, whichever way that you want to explain it, all right, I'm never going to understand anything, because I'm going to understand or comprehend what he was showing was, once you've actually opened their eyes to the true words, you can never unsee them again. Once you've seen everything, you cannot unsee it. Does that make sense? So the way I see it through the Bible, when he's saying he's making them see, is the way that I'm trying to do it. I'm not saying I'm Jesus or anything like that, by the way. I'm just trying to pass on some info on the internet, right? Once you actually see them truths, or the words that are true, you cannot unsee it. You cannot unknow it and think, oh my God, right? Once you realize the deception from the birth certificate, the deception of the straw man, and you can claim the straw man by raising above the waters of the maritime system, right, to gain your freedom. And you can do it, right? If you do it correctly, you can never, ever unsee it. You now can see. Does that make sense? That's what I can see and comprehend, right? It just makes sense. I am man. All right. Okay. Yeah, you can't. There is no going back, Trisha. Once you've seen the truth, all right. You literally have got to keep going forward in the true words. Okay, you can never unsee. All right, but just give you something to think about. Yeah. All right. The straw man. You read about the Bible. Okay. Well, you see, it's definite. It's definitely like makes you think about it. Now here's another one. All right. Now again, right. It's just the way I study. So I'm studying things and I'm bringing you things to making you critically think. That's all I'm wanting to try and do, okay? So look, John 11, 1 to 44. It's quite a big one, but it's about Lazarus. Now, if you haven't studied the Bible much, Lazarus was brought back from the dead. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, okay? But the way that I see it is what they're actually trying to do is to tell us all we can raise ourselves from the dead. People are being raised from the dead. I say that people are being raised from the dead by showing them words that are true. We are told we're all dead at sea. All right, we are told we are dead at sea. So what we're doing is we're actually raising people from the dead, right? Just like Lazarus coming back, all right, to be born again, to be alive, to get rid of the maritime. All right, so we're actually, they told us that we're already dead. So we're doing our L&D, the lawful notice and demand, and telling, right, the whoever it's going to be, get rid of Fat Boy Johnson and only somebody else there, all puppets like directed, and it's not like a puppet of Satan Claus, right? Old good Schwab, right? Because there's people above him, all right? So, right, literally, and that I like that one, that 420 Wild Dragon. We are the Walking Dead, and people are walking around dead. It's zombies. That's why they make all those films, the zombie films, showing you, they're telling you you're all dead. You're all zombies, okay? All right, but this here, it shows us that I think Jesus saying there, he's raised Lazarus from the dead. So now we have to raise everyone else from the dead by showing them, okay, that we're not dead at sea. We are not a legal fiction, because a legal fiction is a dead thing. It's a dead entity. Are we a dead entity? You know, we are not a dead entity. We are a living man or woman. I a man, I a woman. And when we do the I, by the way, this is the I, okay? It is a lowercase, if you want to call it I. This is how you do it. It is not the I. That's decapitated. That's dead. That is no head. This is how you do an I. I a man, I a woman. Because you have your head. You are alive. All right? This is how we do it. I a man, I a woman. So when you're doing it on there and you write a man and you do the colon because it's a fact. I with the head on, a man with the colon because it's a fact and you are alive. All right? We are not the Walking Dead. We are not the zombies in the zombie films that they actually want us to be. Okay? So that's what I've been thinking about all day. So I've wanted to get that like off my chest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over these two topics. Okay. All right. So let's have a look. Interpretations of Romans 13 is essential to advance that video. Does that? I'll have a look at that one. Thank you. Edward. Yeah. I am man, exactly. I am man, exactly like that. So what we're going to look at, I'm going to look at this thing now. I've never tried to do this before. I've got some slides on here. So it's either going to work and be great or be terrible. We'll just have to see. All right. But, you know, and after that, I'm also going to show, I'm talking about collapsing the trust, but like not what you might think. All right. So a couple of people have been asking for this. Aidan was asking, I said I was going to show him. So I'm actually going to show you live tonight. I'm going to actually show you how I do it and how I've done it, and it's all about what they call the debt, but it doesn't exist. All right, but the first thing I'm going to do is the misfeasance in public office. Now the reason why I'm doing it, right, I should have bought my caps down. I've got my public cap and my private cap. All right, I'm not going to go and get them because it means that nobody will be on the screen. But you can wear public and wear private, and you can go in and out of it if you do it correctly. When we stand as I a man, I a woman. But now and again, you've got to go into the public. Now literally, right, if you think you've got to have a bank account, it can only be in the public because you have to have the capital name on. Now, you can do the trusts and everything like that and create the private trusts. However, right, you still got to remember you can go dipping in and out of the public. Everyone's got a different opinion, right? Now, right, I still study and continuously study with these people that have been living in the private for many, many years successfully. And they still have to dip into the public when they're doing things. Now, these people, right, they do not pay any tax, right? They do not have an income, because a man cannot have an income. A man does not have an income. A man, right, will do exchanges for donations for, say, sweat equity, for instance. But you only pay tax if you voluntarily accept you're a person and move into the legal fiction. Be dead, what we're talking about. Instead of Jesus raising you up to be alive and then you are a man, then you look, Mr. Taxman, I am a living entity. What do you want with my estate? My estate does not earn any income. Is that correct? Right? This is how I'm not going to go on and explain how to actually do that, with the taxman. Not today, I won't, but I will. Okay, and we'll explain it. But what I want to try and do is show you these slides. All right, got my fingers crossed that this works. Now it's in the public, but a lot of people are still working in the public, and we have to deal with these people that try and abuse their power. This is what this is. It's about being in public office. So I'm going to try and do this. All right, and I thank Warren for giving me these. And let's see if it can work. So if I add it to stream, right, so you have to let me know. Give me a thumbs up or whatever it is and tell me you can see those slides. Can anybody see the slides and let me know? Yeah. What is that? Does anybody, can you see the slides? It's coming up on here. Yeah, you see them? All right. So this is from Warren. Okay. It's Reverend Dr. Warren. Now, he runs a group called the Legal Cafe. So it's legal. All right. So let's just have to accept that the way that he works in the legal side. All right. But it is good. So what he says here is the world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. So what we're here to do is to do something about it. Okay. So we're talking about misfeasance. Some people call it malfeasance, and right. We're not going to get into politics or any rubbish like that, but it's in the public office. Now, this could be councillors. This could be the police. This could be anyone of that nature. All right. So this is what we're talking about. Misfeasance in the public office. So misfeasance in a public office is a tort, remedy for harm caused by acts or omissions that amounted to an abuse of public power or authority by a public officer who either A, knew they were abusing their public power or authority, or B, were recklessly indifferent as to the limits upon their public power and acted or omitted to act with intention of targeted malice or with knowledge of the probability of harming or with a conscious and reckless indifference. Now, put this into perspective, what we're talking about right now. The way I'm looking at it is the clowns in costumes when they're coming to knock on your door, and it could be something even as innocuous as the meters or the gas, and you haven't paid your gas bill or electric bill, and they are coming in with a fake warrant. Okay, so then they get supported, right? Could be Eon or EO, whatever, EDF or whatever it is, but I've dealt with Eon myself. And they get supported by the clowns in costumes. That is someone who is a public officer abusing their position. This is misfeasance, right? This is a very serious criminal offense. Okay. So harm caused by invalid government actions or omissions, if they knew or indifferent to their restraints, intention or probability to harm, public officer acts knowing that they have no power. Again, let's look at that. So if the harm caused by invalid government action or omissions, that to me has got Coronavirus 2020 Act written all over it. All right, what do you think of that? So you've got like government actions or omissions. Well, 100%, right, that was not anywhere near correct or real or anything, that 2020 Act. Okay, so that completely covers that part. Also, the last bit, public officer acts knowing they have no power. No, not everybody wants to hear it, but like when you've got these fools that are coming around and banging on the doors when they've got a warrants, be it for the council tax, be it for an unpaid parking ticket, right? And the clowns in costumes coming up and supporting the bailiffs. They have no power. This is misfeasance in a public office from the clowns in costumes, okay? Right? So, I mean, it wasn't actually set up for that, but right, as in like the clowns, but it's about the council authorities, the local authorities. We have to hold them to account. So under Section 265 of the Public Health Act 1875, councillors and local authority officers, when acting in good faith in the course of their duties, have statutory immunity, right? But only if they are acting, right, in their office correctly. Right, the Act provides for indemnity in relation to personal liability and cost. This is important, people, because this is how you can actually get them. They think that they are immune to everything, and they are not. I dealt with this myself, right, when I was dealing with, they were trying to shut my gym down, and they said, I'm going to sue you, right? I'm coming for you. I'm taking you to the court. And they went, no, you can't. You can only do it with the council. Yeah, exactly. The council tax. Exactly, Bart. All right. But this is it. See, the local authorities indemnities for members and officers. The Order 2004 grants indemnity or takeout insurance to cover the potential liability of councillors and officers. This covers everything. The police, the council officials, right? But it's only if they're standing in their office, not if they are breaking, right, their own rules, right? So councillors or anyone that works for the council, okay, right, they may incur personal liability or have to defend themselves where allegations are made that they acted outside the powers of authority. They acted in bad faith or fraudulently out of malice. Their actions constitute a criminal offence. They made a defamatory statement. Now, I tell you, that last one, they made a defamatory statement. If you've got any council or worker or police officer or anything that say anything, I've seen videos of them shouting and swearing at people. That is a defamatory statement. They are not allowed to talk and act like that. All right. So the when they're acting in bad faith or fraudulently, or right, I would say, you know, they might be doing it with malice, but a lot of them are acting fraudulently all the time, and they know it. Okay, so this is how you can actually attack them. That's maybe not the right way, but like defend yourself against them or go to get remedy for the tort. That is the point. It's remedy that you can get for the tort of what they're doing. Okay. Right. So councillors, but remember, councillors is how he's created this slide because he was doing it for a specific purpose. I've asked permission to actually share this, which he nicely gave me from the Legal Cafe, because, you know, this covers all of the workers, and it can be if they're trying to shut your business down, okay, right? If they're trying to shut your business down because of the 2020 Act that they did, right? Councillors may be liable or attract allegations for activities where members are appointed to or working with outside bodies in their role as a councillor. Action taken for an alleged failure to comply with the member's code of conduct. Right, this still goes on them, right? They try to use these there's a prohibition order, I think, to call it, when they try to shut your business down. Remember, that is only an act and statute, and they had no authority to do it. We really have to look at this when we're dealing with anyone who's had their business shut down, if you want to actually try and get a remedy for the tort that they did upon you. All right. For both councillors and officers, the 2004 order restricts the provisions of indemnities so that they cannot cover any findings of criminal liability, liability arising from fraud, recklessness, deliberate wrongdoing, the cost of pursuing a defamation claim, not complying with the code of conduct, any cost incurred or to be repaid to the council or insurer. What that means is, right, they are not covered by their liability insurance. Okay, so if you have got, right, an officer, a public officer, so, and it can be in the police, it can be from the council, right, and there was loads of them, and they were acting definitely with fraud. They were just like completely saying that this is the law, that we all have to shut down. All right. So, and that's fraud, and definitely with recklessness. Now, how many times, right, have I had to like help people there that are getting basically attacked by clowns in costumes, right, that are sent there by the council for the council tax, or right, for they haven't paid the gas bill, and the clowns are there, right, going to break the door in, right? So, all right, so this is how we can actually shut them down using, right, using the actual, their own rules. It's their rules. Now, you can use this, right, and have this set up there before you actually get to a court. You can shut them all down with it. You don't have to get to the court to do this, right? Now, I'm going to talk about later, and I'm always trying to put this across as I a man, I a woman. I'm going to show you how to do claims, because remember the two differences here. If you go to their court, it can only be for a complaint. Children complain. We need to know how to do a claim. Now, I've shut a couple of courts down with a claim, right? As grown-ups, as someone handling their own affairs as a man and a woman, we do a claim, right? But anyway, let's continue. For both councillors and officers, the 2004 order restricts the provisions of indemnities so they cannot cover the defence of any criminal proceedings, any civil liability arising as a consequence of any action or failure to act, which also constitutes a criminal offence. Right? They are not insured. This is basically telling you that they are not insured if you go for them when they've done something wrong. Okay? This is the difference. Okay? Their liability insurance does not cover them. So they will be shitting themselves. They all think that they are bulletproof and immune, right? This actually puts them there, right? You are not insured. The insurance will not save you, right? When we're going to put this claim in against you. That is the difference. This is what is going to have them running for the hills. So we know that they are being unlawful. But a lot of times they're actually being illegal. And this is in their world. This is obviously in the public. So we can actually shut them down before we have to try and take them to court. Okay. Right. So this is how you can actually go against them. This is when they are, right, committing misfeasance. Misfeasance, according to Lord Sumption, extends to. Now, I'll tell you something. Lord Sumption, he was one of the highest judges in the land at the time. I think he might be retired. He is on the side of the people. He's on the side of man and woman. All right. So this shows they have no insurance. This is when they get scared, when they find out that they are personally liable, that they are not going to get backed up by an insurance or a job, right? What does it mean? Right? It means like you can't tell me that you have a uniform on and you are covered by it. You are not. It is you. I a man, I a woman, and you are going to put them in a place, which I will show you later, how to put the claim in of I a man, I a woman against the man or woman. Okay. So what does it cover? It covers the police, banking regulators, prison officers, immigration officers, revenue officers, social workers, Royal Colleges of Surgeons. All right. So anything at all to do with the medical, okay. Social workers, if they're interfering with your family, wanting to take children away, All right. Revenue officers, obviously, we're talking about the tax, all right, which you shouldn't be paying anyway if you're a man or a woman. Immigration officers, prison officers, all right. Banking regulators, obviously, we're all dealing with them. And obviously, the clowns in costumes at the top. Okay. Professional conduct rules forbid practitioners supporting obviously baseless allegations. But we're never going to be baseless, because what we're going to do is have proof and evidence of everything. We always have to get proof and evidence of everything. You can never put a claim in against anyone, a man or woman, even if it's somebody like that in a public office, unless you have the evidence that you can actually back it up. You can only put a claim in against something you can prove. Okay. So the QBE is a public authority liability insurance provider. As their policy states, they will cover the statutory defence cost. That's their health and safety at work. That's what that is. Okay. But they won't go further than that. So really, if you're going outside of there, right, then they are on their own. Okay. So public liability insurance, exclusions and limitations. This is how you get them. They think that they're covered with everything. They are not, right? Data protection liabilities. Now, this is a good one when dealing with the anyone who's got debt. As soon as they actually put it to a debt collection agency, the data protection liabilities, right, they are not insured. Defense costs without insurers' consent. Employment disputes. Well, that's related. Okay, we'll I don't want to go on too much about employment, but that's what Reverend Dr. Warren set this up for, was more about that. So that's why that's on, right? And but look, if you are at work, right, and the employment disputes relating to dismissal for defamation, misleading representation, or advertising, we know what we're talking about, don't we? Coercion, demotion, evaluation, relocation, punishment, slander. What is all this talking about? Well, have you had this medical intervention? Okay. All right. Medical intervention. All right. Zurich Municipal covers standard indemnity in respect of contractual obligations. Okay. In respects of fines and penalties where the insured has committed a criminal act, in respect of the defense of any criminal proceedings, they will not cover them on insurance. Okay. They will not cover them. Okay. So that's very, very powerful and interesting information. All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to give you a minute, and then I'm going to go over about like collapsing the trust. Now, what I mean by collapsing the trust is about the debt. Okay. So a lot of people are asking about this. So I'm going to explain what I mean by this. Okay. Do you want to see how to stop a debt? If people think you've got a debt, when in reality, you never have a debt. Debt does not exist. I think you might have seen me. All right. So we're going to show you how to collapse the trust. All right. Because everything is a trust. There's a lot of information on this one tonight, isn't there? Okay. So, right, we have a trust. Trust is created, right? And we're going to call this trust a loan. All right. It's a loan. But remember, okay, we have our sign of nature. And once we're giving them our sign of nature, we actually create the credit. So we create the credit with our sign of nature. So there's nothing made in the loan. We do not lend money, okay? All right. So what we are, because we create the credit, we do it as the settlor, or if you're in the US, all right, it's a grantor. So when we think that we have a loan or a mortgage, all right, but right on here, this is the triangle of the trust, right? We are the settlor, we are at the top. So we create the credit because we are the settlor, all right? So we on this side, we have a trustee. Who is the trustee? The trustee is the bank, okay, or the credit card company, right? Or later on, right, what there will be the DCA. The the debt collection agency. So the trustee is the bank, the credit card company, or the debt collection agency. That is what the trustee is, okay? The fiduciary trustee, right? The fiduciary, okay? So they have a fiduciary duty to the settlor and also to us as confidant. That says beneficiary. We are the beneficiary, okay? All right, so on here, when you think you have a loan, you've actually got a trust. And the trust is created by the settlor or the grantor, right, between the bank, which is the trustee, and the beneficiary. This is the setup of a loan, believe it or not. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Can you see that? So hopefully you'll have seen a lot of the other videos and you'll know that we give them our sign of nature, the signature, the autograph. When we give them the sign of nature, we create the credit. All right, we create it. Okay, so when we're creating it, we're creating it as the settlor creates, and the settlor actually settles or deposits, right, whatever's in there. So if we sign a £10,000 financial instrument, the financial instrument goes into the trust, and the financial instrument is then sold by the trustee, which is the bank or the credit card company, right, and on the securities exchange, right, and they create the credit, which they then give to you, the beneficiary. All right, I know it's a lot of scribble, okay, but that, all right, is exactly how it sets up, okay? So then, all right, what happens then is, let's just say that you don't pay. All right, I would say what they ask for, they ask you to repay, don't they? So you don't repay. But what they always ask you for is the repayments. The repayments. You can only do something you've already done. Okay? So you repay because you've already done it. So if it's been paid, then you can repay it. Well, you must have already paid it. Now, you've repaid it because when your, right, sign of nature, your sign of nature, squiggle, squiggle, okay, created the credit, they sold that instrument, which is a financial instrument, and then what they did is, and they keep selling it and selling it, not just once, but time and time and time again on the securities exchange, right? And then they put that money, what they've secured, the credit, right? I'm a terrible writer. The credit goes into your account and it looks like you borrowed it, but you did not. All right. So what we need to do is we need to look at the three places, right? So number one, right? What are you? You are the settlor, okay? The settlor, another word for that is the boss. All right, you're the boss because you created the trust. Okay, right. Number two, we have the trustee. The trustee, they have a duty. The trustee has a fiduciary duty to the settlor, but also to the beneficiary, right? Number one, number two, and number three, right? What was that? That was the triangle, okay? That is a trust situation. That is a trust there. Big T for trust. So we have number one is the settlor or the creator, all right? Number two is the trustee here, right? And number three is the beneficiary. You take two positions. You take number one, you are the settlor, the boss. You're also number three, the beneficiary. Why are you the beneficiary? Well, you do the sign of nature, so you're the settlor. The settlor creates the actual credit, which goes into the trust. All right. So then the trustee, they take that document and they sell it on the securities exchange, and then they put that back into the trust again, that fund. And that fund there is taken by the beneficiary over here. That's why you're the beneficiary. You get given the fund. It looks like you've borrowed money, but you didn't. All right. I know it's scribbles, but does that make sense? Okay. So you are here as the creator. All right. The trustee takes your sign of nature and sells it. They redeposit that into the trust, and you're the beneficiary of that. And then they ask you to repay it with interest, with usury, which is against our religion, which is against the belief of the creator. You should not have usury. You should not pay interest. You cannot pay interest to be in the line of the creator as well. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. All right. Okay. I'm not talking about a private trust here. I'm talking about how to actually create, crush, and collapse a trust, which is a debt, right? So that you've gone into a bank, all right? You've created that and you've given them that. So now we're going to show you what you have to do. Is you have to do a notice to collapse the trust. You're going to collapse the trust, okay? So you're going to do a notice. So here's the situation. So you haven't paid your loan or repaid it. They haven't given them the repayments that they want with the interest that they want. So give it 2 to 3 months, whichever, and it's always different, right? Eventually what they're going to do is, okay, they are going to close your account down, right? So we're going to do it. So well, let's just say that it's a bank loan. Make it easy, right? So you've got the bank loan there, right? You got month 1 and you don't pay, right? So what they do is they send you reminders, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So then the next one, the bank number 2, the second month, they're generally going to send you last year reminders. Look, you've got to do this. We've got to do this. And on the third one, let's just say on the third one, what they generally do is they'll send a threat, all right, on this one. And they'll say, if you don't start paying it, we're going to send it to collection. We're going to send it to collection. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean, send it to collection? Okay. So I tell you what really happens. And I've seen this with my own eyes. Yeah. Okay. So what happens is after a few months, and they're all different, and I think it's starting to take longer now because people are starting to suss out. Okay. So when they send it to collection, what they'll do is they'll say, oh, I've assigned it. I've assigned it to a debt collector, right? They haven't, right? But they have it in a way. But that's like me saying, look, I'm going to assign you my pen. It's yours. Take it, right? Everything on a debt is property, okay? A debt, a loan, a mortgage, and it doesn't have to. You could. Right, this pen's £1,000. I'm going to lend you £1,000 and you can buy the pen. All right, this is property. The debt is property. Right, it doesn't have to be bricks and mortar. Right, and I'll tell you. So you've got to understand that a debt is property. So it comes under the Law of Property Act 1925. All debt comes under the Law of Property Act 1925. I don't care if it's a credit card, you've got £100 on it, right? Or if it's like a personal loan with a couple of 100,000 on it, or a mortgage with $1 million. It all comes under the Law of Property Act 1925. And under the Law of Property Act 1925, if they were really going to do an assignment, right, and they were going to do an assignment of selling the debt, then they would have to do it under Section 136. Part 1. Now, under Section 136 Part 1 of the Law of Property Act 1925, what they would do is they would actually sell the assignment and sell the deed of assignment to a debt collector. debt collection agency, a DCA. All right, they would sell it. If it was really being sold, they would be selling that. If it was a £10,000 loan, they'd be selling it for £10,000 to the DCA. Well, that's not a very profitable business, is it? All right. Now, when they sell this, they sell the deed of assignment. Deed of assignment. They would have to sell the deed of assignment to them. They would have to sign for it, the DCA, right? The original bank would have to sign for it as well. Then they would have to send it to you, registered post, which you would have to accept and sign for. That is now accepting the debt has been sold. But if I was buying your debt, right, and I would say, look, Fred, right, owes you 10 grand. So I'm going to give you 10 grand. Now Fred owes me 10 grand, but now it's gone to 11 because I've signed it. So I'm coming to get it from Fred. But they never do that. They don't do it. They never do a deed of assignment. This is where the lie is. This is where it's illegal. This is how you can smash them. This is how you can collapse the trust. So there is no deed of assignment. Okay? Because there is no deed of assignment, there is no chose. It's called a chose in action. All right? It's equity. No deed of assignment, no chose in action. There's nothing under equity that they can have. If they have no chose in action, they cannot go to court. They cannot enforce it because they have no chose in action. How haven't they got a chose in action? What does it mean? If they had a deed that they had signed and paid for, they would have a chose in action. If they had a contract signed by you, signed by I and them, right, they would have a chosen action. But if they have no contract, no, and they have no deed of assignment that's been signed and sold and sent to you, then they have no chose in action. Nothing is enforceable. If you have a county court judgment because of a debt collector and you've got to go back and challenge it now on an N244, form N244, but you have to get the proof. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to do a perfected lien to the debt collection agency to prove that they had no chosen action. That's a different video. I'm going to have to do that again. All right. But this is basically how it sets up. So this is how we're going to collapse the trust before you have to actually get it. You only get that if you've got a county court judgment. But I'm not going to go over that tonight because I haven't got time. Okay. Oh, getting excited now. Okay then. So, all right. We have to understand that they have got no chosen action. What they have done is they have actually taken on a trust. They didn't buy a debt, right? They bought data. So what happens is after that third month, what they'll do is like let's just say it's the bank again. The bank, right? They're going to do a huge block of debt, right? Let's just say that block of debt, right, is for 1 million. They put that on the internet and sell it on a website. And I've seen the websites with my own eyes. I've seen them. They sell it in blocks of 10. So blocks like could be 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. Yours will be in there. So your £1,000 will be in there. But it'll total 1 million. And they sell all of the data. Right? So the DCA over here, right, they just buy the data. So if that's 1 million, they're probably going to spend about 10,000 to get that 1 million. All right? That is how it works. So what they do is your credit card and then loads of other credit cards are put into a massive block. They put it on a website very similar to, say, for instance, eBay, right? And then all of these scumbag debt collection agencies bid on it, bid on the data. All the sellers of data, your name, your address, your telephone number, how much the debt was, when was it taken out, how old it was, how many payments you've missed. That is not legal. And I'm talking legal because obviously we're under, what are we under? Here, GDPR, which is statute, right? And Data Protection Act. All right, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations, Data Protection Act, okay? They're breaking them all by doing this, and they do this all the time, okay? This is how it works. This is how, and what it is it's a trust. You just don't understand it. It's a trust, okay? That's the thing. You may have to look back because I'm jumping and I'm scribbling and I'm writing, but does that make sense? All right, let me know. Does that make sense? Thumbs up, okay? All right. You confused, Marie? Which bit are you confused about? So your credit card gets shoved into a big block and it gets sold, but they don't sell the debt, they sell the data, and the DCA only buy the data. That is illegal under their rules. It's illegal, okay? So it's illegal under GDPR, right? It's illegal under the DPA. It's illegal. Now, you can do it different ways, and I'll show you different ways on my smashyourdebt.com, all right? Show you how to crush the debts, smash the debts. But we're going to do it on a trust, all right? So you notice them, the trust, okay? So let's just say that you've got it in the DCA, and they've actually, they're going to write to you. So next thing you know, you get a letter from one of these horrible debt collection. So what you do is you write to the debt collection, okay? Right, so what you do is, right, you've got two sides. Oh, sorry. Left and right. Okay. So we're on the right. We always put our name on the right. The right hand of God. Okay, on here. The left, this is for the debtor. We put our name on the right because we are under the right hand of God. That's why you put your name on the right and you put their name on the left. And you're writing to the man. To the man. Okay. Joe. Right. In his private capacity. You're writing to Joe, the man, in his private capacity, okay, who sometimes acts as director of filthy debt company, all right? So we are writing to the, and this is how you would put, if you want to put greetings to the man, I don't like calling them greetings to the man because I think they're scum. So I just put to the man, Joe, in his private capacity, who sometimes acts as director of little dirtbag debt company. That's how I start off the notices. Okay. So what are you going to put? You're going to put you have created a trust with us, not I, not you, right? Us, with us. You have created a trust with us, okay? So under your fiduciary duty. This pen is getting all dry. Get another pen. I had to go and buy a load of these. Look. Under your fiduciary duty, we demand, again, we, okay, and us, you're plural. Why are you plural? Because we have a person, but we're not a person. We have a legal fiction, but we're not a legal fiction. Whenever they're actually writing to you, they're not writing to you. Who is you? Tell me who you is, and I'll redirect the letters to you. Right? They're writing to your legal fiction. They're writing to the dead before you were brought back to life like Lazarus by Jesus. Does it all tie in now? Do you see what I was talking about? Okay. So you have created a trust with us. Under your fiduciary duty, we demand you collapse the trust. All right. You have created a trust with us. Under your fiduciary duty, we demand you collapse the trust. Okay? Yeah? And what you would do, okay, I'm going to sit down to write it on here. When you do your autograph, can't spell my own name. All right? All right, when you autograph, Peter, settlor, and beneficiary. Okay? That is how you actually do it. So you have created a trust with us under your fiduciary duty. And obviously you're going to put notice to principal is notice to agent, notice to principal, blah, 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 reference number, blah, blah, blah. You do that all first. I mean, that just, you should all know all that anyway. All right. And then you put that, so, to the man, Bob, in his private capacity, who sometimes acts as Bob Jones, the director of this dirty scumbag debt collection company. You have created a trust with us. Under your fiduciary duty, we demand you collapse the trust. You don't need to go on and say any more than this. You don't need to give them your fee schedule. You don't need to do anything. There it is. There it is. Right? Yours, Peter, settlor and beneficiary. Okay? Now, this is what I have done. This is what I have done in a few different occasions. Now, yeah, I'm not actually we have crushed, smashed, got rid of hundreds of thousands of this fake, illegal debt by doing that and similar to that and collapsing the trust. We only have the triangle of trust. That is how they do it. So we collapse it like that. Whenever you talk to them like that, they're finished. Now, listen, whoever makes a claim has the burden of proof. Okay? If they make a claim, they have to prove the claim. Does that make sense? So because they're making a claim, they're saying that you owe that money. If they're saying you owe the money, then they have to prove it. Okay? So if you collapse the trust, right, they're going to be like, oh, now, so it's their problem. They bought the debt. They created that other fiduciary relationship. They have a fiduciary relationship that they created by buying it. Now, Lloyd's Bank, Barclays Bank, Boogaloo's Bank, whoever it was, they've closed the account. They close the account and they sell the data. So that account is closed and finished and dead and done for. Got nothing to do with the bank anymore. They've sold the data. They try and tell you they've assigned the debt to the debt collection agency. The debt collection agency now have a fiduciary relationship with you. They are the trustee of the trust. You are the settlor, the beneficiary. You demand it collapsed, like I've just shown you. You can go over it, all right, loads of times and watch the video back. That's how you actually collapse the trust. So when you do that and they turn around and they come back and go, no, we haven't got a trust. What's you going to say to you? We haven't got a trust. I don't know what you're talking about. Remember, they lie. So you just send them. What I do is I send them, right, the next notice that I send, if they reply in that manner, and I say, I demand you collapse the trust, I am going to start charging you £50, £100, whatever it is that you choose per day, for every day you do not confirm you have collapsed this trust fiduciary agreement with your fiduciary duty as trustee. Right? Yours, the man, blah, blah, blah. Okay? The next time that they send any letter, if they haven't collapsed the trust, you're going to add up the days. So if it's been 30 days, right, and it's £100 a day, you've said, look, you now owe me £3,000. Here is a bill. You have to write it as a bill. You don't do invoices. You don't do fee schedules. You write it as a bill. It has to say the word bill. Okay? It has to say the word bill. Then it has to show them what it is. Okay? So you have to say 30 days at £100. You have to write it like this. Equals, right, £3,000 payable now. Okay, this is how you write it. It has to say the word bill. You don't underline it. I'm just doing that, right? Make sure it's got 4 corners. You don't put anything in boxes. You don't put anything bold. You don't put anything one size and another size. All the same font, all the same size, all the same color, all in blue ink. All right, and this is what you send them, and you send it on a separate piece of paper. Bill, right? Obviously, right, you're going to have the 2 sides here. Their name on the left for the debtor, your name under the right hand of God. Underneath that is bill, right? It says bill, 30 days at £100, £3,000 payable now. Then, right, what you're going to do, okay, it's all written in blue. The next time you have to do it, you are going to write on post due. These are very, very important words and letters on the Bills of Exchange Act 1882. We are doing everything in line with the Bills of Exchange Act 1882. What does that do? Makes it 100% in the law. They have to collapse the trust or they have to pay you. In commerce, now you've gone into the public because you're using this and you're going to collapse the trust. You're collapsing it with what they see as a debt, you see as a trust. You're in the public realm. You're in commerce. So we're dealing in commerce. In commerce, whoever leaves the field of battle first loses. Whoever leaves the field of battle first loses. So if you can't live for the long run, the long fight, don't get involved. Pay your debt and get rid of it. If you want to actually, which is not debt, but I'm just saying, get out of the game. If you're going to stand there and you're going to fight your corner, you have to not leave the field of battle. So if they're going to write to you again and do another letter, then send them the next bill. And then they do that. Now it's not 3,000, it's 6,000. All right. So like, and you keep going and you keep going. And all you're ever going to say is like, well, you know, at the end, can they take you to court to try and enforce a false debt? No, no. But if you leave the field of battle first, right, then you will lose. I know a lot of people that have got county court judgments because they stopped fighting. If they keep fighting, they have nothing to gain, nothing. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll leave it and they'll move on. They only want low-hanging fruit. The easy wins is what these scumbag debt collectors want. All right? So, does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. If you've got any questions, all right, put them up there. I'm going to answer for a minute or so before I have to shoot off, okay? All right. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Now, that's a lot of information. That's a lot of fantastic information. There's people would literally charge like hundreds, if not thousands of pounds for that information that I've just given you there. All right. So like, hopefully that you can actually, you know, obviously it's all going to be saved and you can watch the recordings and everything like that. But that information is priceless. Okay, so yeah, your brain, honestly, like when you go, and this is all from trust work, you know, you learn how to do trust, and then this comes back again. It's like, you know, and I think, oh wow, okay, but that there, not many people know that. Okay, why would you want to pay the debt with a promissory note, though? That's what I'm saying. Why would you use a promissory note? If you pay with a promissory note, which comes under the Bills of Exchange Act, right, they're going to turn it, they're going to cash in the promissory note, by the way. They're not going to return it to you. They're going to make more money. So you're actually making the debt bigger. You're actually making the country's debt bigger by paying it or putting like that promissory note in. They will securitize the promissory note, make more money off you, and then still send and say, oh, it's not valid. We want you to pay it. Collapse it. right? If it's the bank, right, then just stop paying the bank, wait until it goes there, right, until they send it to collection, and then you're going to collapse it, tell them, collapse the trust. Thank you very much, collapse the trust. How's about that? All right. Yeah. Good. Got it. So, you know, yes, Dimebar, you've got the Telegram channel. Can you put the Telegram channel on there for them people, please? We are on Telegram. And this goes out, it's going out live now. On what time is it, by the way? 9:30. That's not bad. An hour and a half. Got a sore throat now. Okay. What about mortgage? Well, it's very different on a mortgage. You've got to remember, this is talking about unsecured debt. A mortgage, you need to go along the perfected lien side because they have a charge on the land registry. Okay. They've got a charge on the land registry. That's what we need to fight, the land registry. That's why we actually need to work on a perfected lien to show them proof that they did not have the loan in the first place. Then you can get it off the land registry. If you can't get it off the land registry, then you're always going to have problems in reference to the mortgage, Mr. Shiny. Okay. Is that the same for vulture funds taking over bank loans? What do you mean? That's a vulture fund, isn't it? If you've got a bank loan and it gets sold to someone, then you have no contract and you have no chosen action. You've got nothing with them whatsoever. Okay. So, you know, you just collapse the trust, right? It's the most easy and efficient way of doing it, right? So once they've took that on and all you do is collapse it, right? You don't have to give them anything else. You don't have to prove anything else. This is the thing, right? Now, right, once you've actually collapsed it, okay, and it's written there, and you just keep sending them bills, all right? Okay, it's in commerce. All right? Okay, so I'll just put that. First to leave the battle loses. All right? First to leave the battle loses. You are in commerce because you've got this thing. So because it's commerce, it's a debt, right? First to leave the battle loses. All you got to do is collapse the trust exactly as I've shown you how to do it, and then keep sending them bills. Every time they send you anything, you send them a bill. Okay? And that's all you have to do. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to send them this and send them that and like this act and that act and whatever. Like bollocks to it, right? Absolute big dog's bollocks. Here we go. All right, you're in commerce. First to lose a battle, first to leave the battle loses. So all you got to do is collapse the trust and then just keep sending the bills off. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Okay, so how we doing? All right. Okay, so I'll just answer a couple of quick questions. Oh, can I put these up on here? Where am I now? Take any action. So sure. Oh, sugar related. All right, there you go. Gonna enjoy trying that. Excellent. Okay. So next one. So you don't take any action until you get the first letter from the debt collection agency. Again, I'm not giving advice. Everyone has to do what they want, and I'm just telling you how things work and what I've done. So this is what I have done. So if it's, for instance, the bank credit card, do not respond to them. I did not respond. So what happens is after a few months, they get a little bit pissed off with you and say, right, I'm going to send it to collection. They don't send it to collection. They sell the bloody data. That is illegal. So that is when we act. So exactly right what you're saying there. As soon as you get the first letter, notice, whatever you want to call it, from the debt collection agency, boom, you're on them straight away. Like a rash, boom, all over them. All right, so that's what you do. Okay. Don't know what. Yeah. All right, this is what I'm saying about the fee schedule. Forget the fee schedule. Don't worry about the fee schedule. All you're going to do straight away, as soon as you've collapsed the trust, right, and if they send you any more letters, then you send them a bill, like what I showed you before. Okay, so you send them a bill, right? You say, look, the collapse, I've told you to collapse the trust, and I'm going to charge you £30 or £100 every day, right, that you do not collapse the trust. It's been 30 days now, you owe me 3,000. And you write it like that, so it has bill, no underlining. I just did that, right? Their address on the left, you're on the right-hand side of God, the right hand of God. That's your name and address. Okay, so 30 days, £100, £3,000 payable now, post due. Post due. You've got to write that on it, right? No lines. I'm just doing that for emphasis. Don't forget about the fee schedule. All you've got to do is send them that, okay? And you keep sending them it every time, and then you increase it. So I've done it now for some of them, and they've got back to about like £7,000. And now and again, they'll send another letter, all right? And you just do the same thing, okay? Right? It's really not about enforcing it, right? It's about like getting rid of them. So like it's the only way to enforce it is to go into their buildings, which is into their courts. We don't really want to do that, right? But it's not about enforcement. It's about getting rid of them. Okay. All right. I should have put my glasses on. You know, I kind of read that very well. Not really sure. Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I think I'll put this up then. Okay, just for out of interest. So, Edward says, I opened a bank account with notation. Is that a bank? I don't know. I do not take usury or interest as of faith. Then use the MasterCard and racked up a bill. All right. Then he says, I paid the principal, called the bank to remove the interest of the MasterCard, and they did. Brilliant. Okay. All right then. Okay, so what do they put on the credit report? This is the thing. If you're worried about your credit report, pay all your bills, don't fight anyone, continue doing it down the line. All right, stay. All right, we just talked about the Bible. All right, didn't we there? Right, about like how Jesus opened their eyes. It's not your credit report, it is theirs. It is their credit report. So what they're doing is they're actually making the higher your score. What they're doing is they're telling everyone, look how big a mug this person is. And it is a person if you've got a credit score. I smashed mine to bits. Now, they are trying to push onto us this new universal credit system, which is going to be universal money. And if you've got a higher credit rating, then you're going to be able to go and buy certain things. They are trying to make it so this credit score is going to roll onto your credit, i.e. your bank. And then everyone's going to be bragging about how, like, you know, like, oh, I've got a higher credit rating than them. Don't let them push you down that path. Okay. All right. I don't know what that means. What about the next time? Trust UCC. What does that mean? Not really sure what that means at all. Okay. All right. But, right. So what we have to do, you collapse the trust. That's another way of doing it rather than doing the smash of debt paperwork onto there. So I just thought I would let you see that, peoples. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the slides. Thank you very much to Warren, Reverend Dr. Warren, for that, letting us do that about like the misfeasance under there. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll leave it there. I'm going to have to shoot off. Okay. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It will be getting up there. We're getting put in the members area as well, and saved for everyone. Quite a lot of information there. Okay, so yeah, exactly. If you're going to go, they've actually got that, the sovereign credit system. It's like you're going to be sovereign, and that's them. So be careful when you're talking about credit ratings. It's not yours; it's theirs. Don't let them rule you or own you. Okay. All right, we're going to shoot. Take care. Have a great day. The rest of the day today, and then Saturday and Sunday. All right. Okay. Take care, everyone. Have a look. All of the links for the members area and everything else is all going to be in the links for here. And if it's not on already now, so it'll be on when it goes up on YouTube. All the links for joining a membership and everything, it's all on there. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it there. I've got a sore throat. We're shouting too much. All right. So take care. All right. And I will see you all very, 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 very soon. All right. So I'm going to be in Manchester on the 23rd, which is next week. But then I'm going down to Plymouth in September, and I'll be getting all the links up about that as well. Okay, for September, and pushing that out. If you want to come and see us in September down in Plymouth or down at the seaside. All right. Okay. See you all later. Take care, everyone. Take care.